Hello, beauty. How are you? Drop an emoji or a hi below to let me know that you are here, either listening live or catching the replay. So I want to talk with you and get a little personal with you today about this essential piece for you to move the needle forward in your business and for you to really step into the work that you're here to do and begin to do it, especially when life is crazy and chaotic and, maybe you are a mother and you have a family and children and you might even have a job. Or you have been in business, running your own business, and life keeps happening, right? And so you're trying to find some consistency and stability within growing your business and also within life, right? So let's just get a little cozy as we arrive here. And I want to be really honest with you in this conversation. So it's going to be a little messy probably. Might be a little flowy all over the place. So just try to stay with me the best you can. But I want to share some of my process and journey because I think that it's going to help you. And this isn't 100% like polished or filtered and all of that stuff, right? I actually was on my walk and I really started seeing this and feeling it. And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to go to the bench. And of course, as I come to the bench, I had to walk off my path, and the bench where I'm sitting it's pretty, you can see the walking trail behind me. It's a good ways off the walking trail, and I saw all these mushrooms, and so it just felt like this beautiful blessing, and just confirmation, you're here, you're doing it, you're listening, and it just felt really special. So here we are. So we are in a time right now of a lot of unearthing. Last week 2 weeks ago was the big storm, right? That shook a lot of people. And, even if it did not touch you personally, you probably know someone that it touched or affected, or it may have stirred something in you, right? And if not, that is 100% okay too. I totally believe in being where you are and honoring where you are on your journey. And if you're not feeling it, that's awesome. Continue to stay focused on where you are so you can hold that steadiness in the field, right, for everyone else. So I know for me, it tugged at a lot of heartstrings, and, it brought up some old trauma from when Hurricane Ida hit. Then on top of that, Ken was working the storm. And so I felt myself kind of tracking and worried about him. And what I want to say about this, mindset work, we talk about boundaries, we talk about energetic boundaries. When we go through something that is so raw and so real, right? It is an initiation given directly from God, from the earth herself. This is a lot different than walking through an initiation of how to hold clients in a business. Okay, so if you have been through real life initiations, whether that's death, whether that's a disaster, whether that is a family member getting really sick, or maybe you having health challenges, I like to think of those as initiations. And the level of initiation is going to be a lot different than if you are walking through a healing container or a coaching program and you're receiving initiations that way. Okay? Because these initiations are directly from life herself. So it has a different flavor. So I just want to say that and name that. So one of the things that I've noticed for myself, and this really started when I was witnessing, all the disaster of Hurricane Ida. So that was when I walked through the hurricane experience, and then Ken's accident. And I could feel myself caring and worrying. And there's a way we want to go in and we want to change that mindset. Like, okay, well, I need to detach. Okay, I shouldn't care that much. Actually, what I began to see is I care so fucking much. And I don't want to change that about myself. And when I begin to orient to that, right? Like, oh my God, look at the capacity of my heart. Look at the depth that I feel. It gives me some really rich information about who I am, for one. And then two, it's like, okay, well, if I have that big of a heart, and my heart is that sensitive, and my heart is that caring, what do I need to do to keep my own heart safe, right? To hold my own heart, to protect my own heart, and not from a place of like warrioring up and protecting myself, right? But like looking at it, orienting to it, and really beginning to wonder. So I've been noticing, so we had the hurricane, Ken got called to work the hurricane, we've been working on the camper, we just invested a ton of money, buying a truck, buying a camper. I've been working on my business, which is really vulnerable, right? Like, especially after stepping back for a while and really making this decision and going all in, and then I had the scholarship process, which was amazing, by the way, and I want to share more about that, but I'm also still feeling a little tender and like, it's not quite ripe, right, for me to share, but I'm in the portal, like I was in the portal of navigating that as well, and I could really just begin to feel my little girl, and like she was really wanting some love, and she was really wanting a lot of attention, and in that, then Ken comes home, and he actually needs attention, and I feel a little selfish even just saying this and naming this, because I know a lot of you are mothers. And so like you have walked through, again, a real life initiation of motherhood where you have to see life through a different lens. And so I could feel, like needing to hold the energy differently, needing to hold my energy differently. And, we had a lot of things to do. And so, yeah, all of that was coming forward. And it becomes kind of tricky, right? Because that's the place where we want to shut down, we want to run, we want to hide. We might not feel inspired. We might not feel like you have the capacity. And this could be in life, right? But then when you need to orient to business, like, for me today, I noticed, I'm like, okay, my brain feels kind of tired. I feel tired. I noticed my little girl, right, still feeling super, like, vulnerable and wanting a lot of attention. And here's the thing. If we don't get our full self on board, it's going to be really, really hard to move forward. And this is where I see so many people get stuck. So it then keeps you either in a pushing mode, or it keeps you in this place of like constantly wanting to go inward, constantly feeling like you have that little girl like tugging at you, or that inner teenager tugging at you, wanting attention or wanting to do it her way. Right? Like, no, this doesn't work for me. Like, I want to do it this way. right? And so you have all these parts in these places pulling and resisting, demanding. And that takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of tending, a lot of effort. When we get our full self on board, things can happen so much easier. And so I personally have had my own evolution in this process of getting myself on board, because like I said, when I was just tending coaching containers and working my inner stuff, there was certain ways that I related to myself, and there's certain ways that I actually held myself in those processes. It was just me. It was just me as an individual. Now, as I'm walking through life initiations, it is more of a co-creation. It is more of an interdependence, because I need my network, my system, my little ecosystem, just as much as they need me. So it's not so much about just standing up for myself at that point, but my ecosystem actually needs me to step into myself for them to thrive. Let me know if this is resonating or making sense for you. And when I say that, we can look at our ecosystem as our family, right? So Ken, my dog, his family that is right around our edges. My family that is right around our edges. My clients, that's my little ecosystem. But then I can also look at my personal ecosystem, like my little girl, my inner teenager. And so what I've personally noticed as I've gone into these life initiations, right? And the hurricane was the biggest rewiring for me, because it shattered my whole everything. My consciousness, the way that I held things, the way that I looked at things, every tool that I learned basically was lost in the hurricane, right? I didn't know if mindset work was real. I didn't know if emotional intelligence, all of it was up for questioning. And so I've consciously re-threaded, right, and stitched back together with my own hands, letting go of the distortions, letting go of, things that I learned, ways that my teachers held things that weren't true for me or aligned to me, right? And it's the same thing when we're turning towards these inner parts of ourselves. Our first, I want to say instinct, but it's not even really an instinct. Our first pattern, or our first, more of a reaction of sorts, right, is we tend to almost do it in the same ways that maybe our family has treated us or our life has treated us, right? We do it we meet ourselves in that same energetic of what's old. And so that's not actually going to help us move forward. And so when I was doing my meditation this morning and I began to see my little girl, right, I can see her okay, you're tired. What is it that you're really wanting? Well, she's wanting to play. She wants spaciousness. She wants to play with magic. She wants all of these things. And so she was kind of throwing a temper tantrum because when we were busy, having to do real life things, right, go shopping for the camper and get things worked on the truck and go to 5 different stores because the one store didn't have everything. You know what I mean? So then my inner child is throwing a little tantrum, and then I'm feeling pulled in different directions. I'm not able to be fully present in the experience. This happens with business as well. Okay. And that's why I'm sharing these details with you. And so when I met her initially, she's wanting magic, she's wanting flow, she's wanting these things. And so I met her, yes to that, right? And so I spent some time with her, and then I actually realized, like, I need to have a conversation with her. Like, this is so much bigger than us. What is wanting to flow through us is so much bigger than us. And in this, I also noticed some father wounding coming forward. So where when I was a little girl, you know, my dad had to go out of town for work. He left, he moved to a different state. And so every time I saw him, like the hellos and goodbyes, there was a certain flavor to that, right? And I held myself a certain way, and I didn't want him to see that I was sad. And so here I am, and my relationship with Ken has been mirroring that. And so my little girl goes into this place. And our relationships affect our business, you know, because if we're doing this dynamic in our relationships, it's going to affect our ability to show up fully in our business, right? Or our energy is being pulled when it could just be streamlined and focused towards what we're wanting to do and where we're wanting to go. And another place that I see this come up for a lot of my clients is they've been through an experience in the past, and then they're wanting to really serve and help people that are experiencing something similar to that, to what they experienced. And, you know, this could be great, and it could really keep you stuck, especially when, you know, you have to think back to like when you were in that experience. Were you actually looking for support? Were you wanting to pay for support? And if so, like, how much money did you spend, and what were you actually available for in that experience? You know what I mean? Because the reality is, if somebody's drowning and they can't even think about like how much money would it take to pay somebody to help me out, and that's what you're trying to sell, you're not going to sell it. And so anyway, I'm a little bit off on a tangent, but this is important because if your inner child is hung up on something, it could be keeping you stuck, you know? And so as I was in the park, I started listening to this astrology video, and then it started to really come to me and piece together. And it was like, this is so much bigger than you. This is so much bigger than you. And I had this conversation with my little girl, and I let her know, like, I really see that this hurts so fucking bad. I see you. And this is so much bigger than us. It's not about that it didn't happen, but like, life happens. It's not personal. Like, this is life. It's okay to feel. It's okay to have feelings about it. And, you know, like, there are people that need us. This is actually really important. And when I had that straight shooting conversation with her, she was willing. She was willing to get on board. And this is essential. This is essential if you're wanting to make more money in your business. This is essential if you are wanting to really get laser clear on who you're serving, so you can position yourself to make money, right? This is essential if you're wanting to get laser clear on like, why should I let myself receive more money? This sounds crazy, but there's so many women that I talk to, and they have these like hang-ups around letting more money come to them, letting more abundance. And it's not that they don't feel valuable, because they know that they're valuable, but it's almost like this guilt of like survival guilt, you know, like, well, why should I let myself be successful when other people are struggling? We have to get our little girls on board. We have to help her see the bigger picture of where this is going and why this is so important. And so let me know below if this is landing for you. And yeah, I want to invite you to really turn towards those inner places in you where there might be some fear and there might be some resistance. Get curious about where they are, and then just see, you know, is there a different way, like, that you're needing to approach this? If you put your CEO queen crown on, And also connect to source. So when I'm at these places where I can see like, okay, there's a pattern. I don't exactly know the new way, right? What I can see is that I've done it a certain way for a really long time and it's not working for me. What I like to do is connect to source, let myself pause there, connect to source and ask, can you show me a new way? Can you help me see, feel, experience, know a new pathway here to be in relationship with this part of me? And so then I lean in. I lean into the current, the divine current, and I see what happens. So you don't have to figure this out by yourself. You don't have to do it alone. There's so much support around us. And, you know, if you know you're at a place where you're ready for support, message me. Send me a message. I'm offering some free calls right now. It's not a sales call. It is a business soul alignment call to just really help you get clear on like, okay, this is some shifts that will make things so much easier for you. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you energy. It's going to save you money. So let me know. I'm here for it. And let me know how this is landing. I'm sending you so much love.